good afternoon and good evening to those on the East Coast. Thank you so much for joining us for the 2025 members meeting for the United States Curling Association. And wanted to first, before we officially convene the meeting, we're going to go through the awards that we've, the Excellence Awards for this year, and recognize someone in the room for something very distinguished before we get the meeting kicked off. So, without further ado, the Excellence Awards are handed out every year, voted on by a committee, but also by the membership at large. They constitute the highest awards for different categories that we have in USA Curling, and we're just so incredibly awed by the performance of these athletes and coaches who really lead curling in the United States. And so we wanted to take a few seconds during the members meeting, or technically before the members meeting, to acknowledge those winners this year. So for Male Athlete of the Year, it was Corey Dropkin. Yeah, I think we can clap. He earned it. Female Athlete of the Year, Corey Teesey. Wheelchair athletes, two, Steve Empt. And Laura Dwyer. As if they need more accolades, Team of the Year, TC Dropkin. And this one, I'm just really thrilled that he was recognized this year. Coach of the Year is Mike Poplinski from Eau Claire. Breakout Coach of the Year, Chris Johnson. And Breakout Performance of the Year, Gianna Johnson. Volunteer of the Year from the Heather Curling Club, Larry Barrett. And certainly last but not least, I want to acknowledge a friend of mine who has given so much to the game, has personally had to sacrifice, and has put just so much hard work and led the organization in some difficult times. The Hall of Fame inductee for 2025 is Rich Lepping.
Just to be clear to everybody, we have a ceremony and a dinner for Rich tomorrow night, so that's not the extent of the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. But we thought it would be appropriate to honor him at the start of the members' meeting as well. So, Rich, we look forward to tomorrow night.
And I do want to recognize one more person in the room. Did not get an official award, but has served USA Curling for many years in many roles, most recently as a World Curling representative for, I think, 12 years. And I want to acknowledge Jennifer Stannard for all of her service to USA Curling over the years. Thank you, Jennifer, for everything. Mr. Secretary, are we ready to convene the meeting? Yes. Again, apologies for the technical difficulties. My name is Brett Jackson. I am Chair of USA Curling, and I hereby call the 2025 members meeting to order. Mr. Secretary, is there a quorum?
We do have a quorum, yes.
Can you announce the details of that, please?
Currently, just give you the total. Actually, the first thing we need to do is go to the treasurer to certify the votes for the member clubs. Alexis, Could I pass that to you, please?
This is additional drama. She's certifying. All right. People in the room, you can't hear this, but we will trust in Secretary Dick Dawson.
Thank you, Alexis. The total individual member votes with the intent to vote forms submitted were 13,912. Checking in this evening through all of the process we've gone through tonight, we have 11,524 member votes accounted for by the presidents and their delegates. We have one individual member who has opted out of their member club vote who has also checked in. We have 6 individual members with no affiliation to a member club, independent or provisional member club, bringing the total voting community to 11,530. So that's the total member count representation, which represents 63% of the total membership of USA Curling. Therefore, I can establish a quorum for tonight's meeting. The calculation on the Athletes Advisory Council, bringing their voting total to 1/3 of the total vote at this meeting, indicates that the athletes will have 5,762 votes, bringing the total number of votes to be cast at this meeting to 17,286. This will be duly recorded in the minutes, and you can check my math. I'm happy to have you do it, but I'm pretty sure I'm very confident that this is correct. Mr. Chair, we do have a quorum as a result.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. The first item on the agenda is the consent agenda. This is approving the minutes of the 2024 members meeting. Those have been linked on the website. Does anyone have any comments, addition, deletions of the minutes? And I know some people had submitted them ahead of time. And if you had submitted them ahead of time, those were draft and they had been adjusted since. We're going to give the people on Teams a second to weigh in if they have any comments or additions to the minutes. Hearing none, do I have a motion to adopt the minutes for the 2024 members meeting? Moved by Ann Kirkpatrick. Is there a second? Somebody second online. We'll pick whoever that is. Do you know?
I don't, because I can't.
Okay, that's okay. So if someone online could identify themselves when they second, please. Okay, thank you, Tim. And the same for if you're in the room motioning or seconding, if you could identify yourself. Appreciate that. All those in favor of approving the minutes for the 2024 members meeting, say aye. I will. All those opposed, say nay. The motion carries. The next item on the agenda is approving new and returning member clubs to USA Curling. Voters are asked to vote on a motion to approve either by voice vote or roll call vote. Each member club may be voted on separately. And seeing as how this is kind of a big deal for some, I would actually suggest that we do it separately, especially for the new member clubs. Jonathan. Absolutely. On the agenda, they're listed. Yeah, on the agenda that I'm. Okay. So what was moved in the room is to make sure that Oklahoma is listed as a returning member and not as a new member, which is absolutely correct. So is there a motion to approve the Great Falls Club of Great Falls, Montana? Can you state your name once again? Jim McMahon moves. Is there a second? Perfect, thank you. All those in favor of approving Great Falls as a new member club, say aye. I don't think it will be awkward. I really think it's important to recognize these new members. This is great. All those opposed, say nay. Congratulations, Great Falls, on becoming a new member club of USA Curling. Next, the Hayward Club in Hayward, Wisconsin. Is there a motion to adopt the Hayward Club as a new member club of USA Curling?
Jeff Schlesman, Poinette, Wisconsin.
Could we give you the second? So Jeff Schlesman and John Mumford is the second. All those in favor of approving Hayward as a new member club for USA Curling, say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Congratulations, Hayward, on becoming a new member club for USA Curling. I don't think I'm a delegate. I can't make a motion, can I? I can? Well, then I'm going to move that the Ludington Area Curling Club in Ludington, Michigan be established as a new member club for USA Curling. Is there a second? All those in favor of approving Ludington Area Curling Club as a new member club for USA Curling, say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ludington Area Curling Club, welcome to USA Curling. Next, do I have a motion to approve the Upper Valley Curling Club in White River Junction, Vermont as a new member club to USA Curling? If you made the motion, can you state your name again, please? It was someone online. Okay, Ann Kirkpatrick is making the motion to approve. Is there a second? Thank you so much. All those in favor of approving Upper Valley as a new member club to USA Curling, say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Upper Valley Curling Club, welcome to USA Curling. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve Watertown in Watertown, South Dakota as a new member club to USA Curling?
Dustin Hanson, motion to approve Watertown Curling
Thank you, Dustin. Is there a second? Michelle Landry, thank you so much. All those in favor of approving Watertown as a new member club to USA Curling, please say aye. All those opposed say nay. Watertown, welcome as a new member club to USA Curling. Would someone like to make a motion to approve all returning member clubs back to USA Curling, including the Alpine Curling Club, the Diamond State Club, the Drayton Curling Club, Mankato, North End, Nutmeg, Palmer, Peachtree, Petoskey, Pine Tree, Rochester, and Rutland Rocks Curling Clubs as returning member clubs, and Oklahoma. Thank you, Aaron. Is there a second? Thank you, Michelle. All those in favor of approving all of those returning member clubs back to USA Curling, please say aye. Any opposed, say nay. We are so thankful that all of you decided to return as members to USA Curling. Thank you so much. So we're going to take, the next item on the agenda is amendments to the bylaws. And we're going to take each of these separately. I will first have the secretary explain the specific bylaw change that's being amended, and then I'll put it out for a motion to vote and see if there's any discussion. So on item A, the clarification of terms and term limits. Mr. Secretary, can you explain?
Of course. There was, we have noticed in the bylaws that there were some moments in the bylaws themselves which didn't cover a case where a board member resigned or was removed from the board, and what the term would be for the person who replaced them. So what you're going to notice in the bylaws is that the original bylaw didn't include this as a case that might happen. So the wording in this was just to clean that up and basically say the director who replaced them would fill in the term. And then if that fill-in time was less than a year, they would still be eligible to serve on the board for the terms, the 4 terms that they're allowed. I figured this was the right way of managing this. You'll see it on the documentation there, and it was just a slight change to that. So that was the purpose and the directive behind making this particular change. Mr. Chair.
Are there any questions or discussion on the motion, or on the proposed bylaw change? Because there's not yet a motion. Then do I have a motion to approve the amendment to the bylaw, item A, on the agenda? Thank you, Tim. Is there a second? Thank you. All those in favor of approving the bylaw change, say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Item A on the amendments to bylaws is approved. Item B, clarification of handling of standing committee members leaving before the end of their terms. Mr. Secretary, will you please explain?
In a similar way to the directors, the standing committees needed to also have clarification on what would happen if someone who was a standing committee member stepped away from that and when they did, because those have term limits as well. So what I've done is just created some clarification wording in here, basically, again, indicating when they leave and how much of that time or term was remaining and how it would be handled appropriately. Mr. Chair.
Are there any questions or discussion on proposed bylaw change? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the amendment to the bylaw, item B?
So moved. Jim Clark, Circle City.
All right, Jim, and we'll give you the second. We got a second in the room. All those in favor of approving? All those in favor of approving item B in the amendments to the bylaws, say aye. Any opposition, say nay. Item B on the amendments to the bylaws is approved. Item C, additions to Article 16 in terms of sanctioning events. Mr. Secretary, will you please explain?
Of course. So there's the USOPC reviews our bylaws on a 4-year basis. It's called a quad audit. In the process of doing so, there were 2 or 3 points of clarification on events that U.S. curling athletes would attend, and to ensure the safety of our athletes when they attend those particular meetings or events and wherever they're traveling. So what they asked for was some clarification in some of the terms here about USA Curling must ensure proper record keeping, must ensure that world curling rules are being followed when we're traveling, and that the safe sport rulings would also be managed and maintained when our athletes are abroad. What we've done here is add that into our bylaws, and we're asking for the approval of that addition.
Are there any questions or comments on the amendments to bylaws item C? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the amendments to the bylaws item C? Thank you, Dustin. Is there a second? Seconded by Jonathan Lee. All those in favor of approving the motion, say aye. Any opposition, say nay. The amendments to the bylaws item C is approved. Item D, clarifications to Article 7, Board of Directors. Mr. Secretary, will you please explain?
In a similar way, Article 7 was amended during the quad audit by the USOPC to increase the definitions and the clarification around the Board of Directors, their qualifications, as well as creating a new category of director called an affiliate director. If you look online, what you're going to see is you have the original documentation on Board of Directors, which is online, and then the changes that USOPC has recommended to bring us into alignment with USOPC policy. So basically what we've done is we've amended the bylaws to make sure USOPC is in line with what they're doing. So our next quad audit, at their recommendation, now we're fully in line with what their recommendations are. Mr. Chair.
Are there any questions or comments to amendments to the bylaws or item D?
Jim Clark, Circle City. Will these amendments impact how the organization is being run?
It does not, the way that I read it, no, Jim, it will not affect the way the organization is run. The question will be whether we want to add an affiliate director at some point. That has not come up. I don't, but the people to my left here will make the decision on whether it does come up. It's an option that whether we may or may not take. I would assume that we do not.
I'll provide just my thoughts on the matter. We today have a board of directors of 15 persons. 1/3 of those directors are athletes, and by federal law, we have to have 1/3 of those directors be athletes. If we expand the board, so we have 10 non-athletes. If we expand the board on that side, we have to also expand the number of athletes. And it's not that we don't like athletes. I very much appreciate their contributions to the board. But at some point, when you add one, you end up adding many more, and the board becomes larger and larger. It may not be as functional the larger the body gets. So I would suggest, but this is just one person's opinion, that we keep the board at 15 for now. It has worked well since the members made that change. And I want to say like 6, 7 years ago, 8 years ago. And until we see a reason for changing the composition of the board, my suggestion to the membership would be to keep things where we are. But at least having this flexibility is always a good thing. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Then can I have a motion to approve the amendments to the bylaws, item D?
So moved, Victor Lee, Broomfield 1.
Thank you, Victor. Is there a second? No, Kara. You beat her just by the millisecond. Thank you, Kara. All those in favor of approving the amendments to the bylaws, item D, say aye. Any opposition, say nay. Then the amendments to the bylaws, item D, is approved. Next item on the agenda, approval of new board members. The nominating committee has submitted 3 board members. These are all directors that would be taking the regionally based positions. The first is Jonathan Lee. Jonathan Lee would be representing the Dakota Territory Curling Association and the Mid-America Curling Association. Number 2, he would be a new director in his first term. The second one is representing the Wisconsin State Curling Association, Brian Koop. Brian would be returning to the board for his second term. And the third is representing the Alaska Curling Association, the Mountain Pacific Curling Association, and the Pacific Northwest Curling Association. And that's Phil Shyrock from the Granite Curling Club. Phil will also be returning for his second term. Is there a motion to approve the board members as reported by the nominations committee? Okay, we're going to give the gentleman from Madison the second. Bernie had just got you by a second here in the room. All those in favor of approving the new board or the board members as nominated by the nomination committee, please say aye. All those opposed say nay. Congratulations to Jonathan, Brian, and Phil. Before we move on to the next item, I want to recognize that since Jonathan is new on the board, that means someone is leaving the board, and that someone is Roger Smith. Roger has been representing the Dakota Territories since before the two regions were merged. He has been a stalwart representative, not only for his region, but just a trustworthy volunteer, a real thought leader in curling, has been just a steady hand in important discussions. Roger's presence on the board is absolutely going to be missed. And so I wanted, please, if the members would do us the honor of congratulating Roger on all of his years of service, thanking him and wishing him well. Fishing in Canada is which I think is his next objective. So thank you, Roger Smith. All right, I think we've done the voting for the day. That would be, Dean, you are up next with the CEO report.
Thank you, Brett. Give me a moment here to share my screen for the people in the room and the people who are online. Should be sharing here shortly. Yes, there we are. Everybody can see that. People watching on the stream, hopefully they can see that on the screen as well. So first, thank you, Brett. Thanks to everybody who attended in person here today. People who made the trip to Vegas. I see Peg Anderson here, Bernie, some of our gold members and big supporters of the sport, and others here as well. Appreciate all of you for being here. Or watching on the stream. Now I have a delay over there, but that's all right. So we'll take a look back at the year past, and then with some highlights, and we'll even review a couple of the lowlights, and then we will look ahead to the year we're going to. So highlights, lowlights, the FY26 forecast, the money part of the issue, and looking forward into what's an important year for us. Every games year is important, and 2026 is a big one for the sport and for all our member clubs. I want to start, though, just by thanking all of our member clubs, our members, our individual members, our members at all levels, along with our host clubs and our championship sites. We are truly fortunate to have had so many terrific host clubs in recent years. And consistently work with them and see the amount of effort they put into having championships. We're working pretty hard to make hosting events better for clubs, despite the fact that you see Sean Stevenson passed out there at Rock Creek. Also, we know the number of volunteers it takes, timers, and so forth. So thank you to everybody who has contributed to our events this past year. We'll start off with highlights, better than lowlights, I think. So we'll start off with the highlights. A couple of things that were important this year. We produced revenue positive men's and women's nationals and mixed doubles trials. That might sound like something we should always do. It hasn't always happened. I think there's a couple things there that are happening. We're getting a little better at putting those events on. We're finding better venue deals, and that's been helpful. We still have work to do, quite frankly, to make our events even better. But on the revenue side, they've been positive. We improved our balance sheet in this last year, so that has been positive. As people know, we inherited this board and myself. We inherited a difficult financial situation. We're making good headway on that. And in FY25, we recorded a small surplus. If you attended the meeting last year, you know I had to report that we had a deficit. We did record a small surplus this year. We're looking forward to another surplus in the coming year. Quite honestly, we want to continue to have larger surpluses, not because we want to be the richest NGB out there, but because we want to have more dollars to do more things. So we're going to continue to do that and continue to work towards building a reserve fund that we haven't had. By the way, Dick, let me know if somebody has their hand up, can you let me know? Thank you. Some other highlights, we renewed our major organization sponsors. So major organization sponsors, Columbia Sportswear, appreciate all the support of the curling community of that brand. We've renewed them. And Dale's, the official beer of USA Curling, is in and excited and continuing their sponsorship. So those are the two major cash sponsorships we have. I think one thing people should realize is that we don't just get a sponsor and then take the check and walk away. There's a lot of work that goes into fulfillment of sponsorships. I'm looking at Peg Anderson here. She's helped us immensely with the Dale sponsorship. I appreciate any member clubs who have put Dale's in their clubs, and I know Dale's and us, we're working with their sales team to try to facilitate that and make it happen more often. So They also have I'll add that they have an NA beer called Designated Dales. So if you want to ask your rep about that, please do. We also took on hosting the Pan Continental Curling Championships. That's a world curling event. We've had terrific sponsor reception to that event. We signed U.S. Steel as a sponsor of that event. So Peter Draculius, who works on partnerships and sponsorships for us. Craig Perry is heading up the PANS event. And many thanks to Phil Drobnik, who is well connected, you might say, in the Iron Range community. Has certainly helped there as well. So thank you, Phil. And our team trials, while that's a USOPC property coming up in November in Sioux Falls, our team trials will be sponsored by Xfinity and Lilly. We can't take credit for that. That's the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee. But what is exciting about it is that it's two large brands engaged in our sport on television, and we will get some financial return on that as well. We'll get a portion of that sponsorship. I'm sure the USOPC portion will be much larger, but we'll get some. So that's something that's never happened at our trials. So that's exciting. The other thing is our team trials will be all the qualifying round games. All games will be on Peacock. I encourage everybody to subscribe to Peacock. And then on the weekend, the playoff games will be on USA. They're going to show a men's game, wheelchair mixed doubles trials highlights, and then the women's game. I don't know if I have the men's-women's order particularly right, actually, but the idea is on Saturday and Sunday, it's going to be 7.5 hours of continuous broadcast coverage. And I'll add, we're also the first NGB in the USOPC to have a Paralympic trials at the same time as an able-bodied trials. So you'll see track and field doing that next year, but we're going to be the first, so that's exciting. We have introduced changes. I say we, Lauren Rich, Member Services in the back there, has introduced changes to our My USA Curling Sport 80 platform that has significantly improved it. Both she and I will tell you that there is still work to be done there, but it is improving through her efforts working with them. Thanks to Steve Scheel from Fargo. Steve both drove the development and financed the creation of a new officiating app that we have that allows us to, officials put in scores, they go directly onto our website, and we see ourselves using that more and more. So we are still using Curling Zone as well because we know a lot of people go there for scores, but the most up-to-date scores will be on our own site. I'd also like to thank the people who are part of the club council. If you're a club that hasn't been sending a club council representative, I encourage you to. I think many are. We have, typically well over 60 people attending those meetings. They are not only effective, I think, or valuable for the clubs themselves, but they're super valuable for us because we get feedback from clubs that we may not get otherwise because we simply can't be in every warm room all the time. So that's been really good. I'd also like to thank the Arena Club Advisory Group. We meet with them. We meet with the club council on the second Wednesday of every month, the Arena Club Advisory Group on the third Wednesday of every month, and both of those have helped us connect with both all our member clubs and then arena clubs as they address their own specific issues. So we did secure our Olympic and Paralympic berths in mixed doubles, wheelchair and wheelchair mixed doubles. For people who don't know, wheelchair mixed doubles will be in the Paralympic Games for the first time in 2026. So we're in those. Lowlights, this is where the graphics get lousy because they're lowlights. But I'll go through some of them that are frustrating to us or have been challenging. The Sport 80 platform I mentioned, it continues to challenge at times, but we continue to work to improve it. I will say that in talking to other NGB CEOs, most consider Sport 80 the best of the lot. So we're going to continue to work with them. Obviously, it was disappointing that we didn't get the direct berths into the Olympic Games in men's and women's. And I just want to say that full credit to our athletes and our teams who go and play in these events. They're incredibly pressure-filled, and I know how hard they played and how much they wanted to earn those berths. What is exciting, I think, is that our teams are playing really well at this time of year. So we're going in, whatever teams come out of our trials, we will go into the Olympic qualifying event with a lot of confidence and momentum. The other challenging issue has been the competition category mandate that we're following. So that is related to the executive order, federal executive order that the USOPC is requiring us to comply with. And that, I understand, is disheartening for a lot of people. We can talk about it more at the end of this at the end of my report. I'm sure there'll be questions. I will just say that the board has approved a policy on this related to transgender participation in our events. I will say that I want to make it very clear that we've written the policy that it only applies to our national championships and sanctioned qualifying events that lead to our national championships. So we encourage clubs to continue with whatever practice you follow in your own clubs, and we specifically wrote it in that way. We'll have more on that next week. We want to talk through a few things with the USOPC first, but like most NGBs, our board has been wrestling with that, and full credit to all on the board for their efforts there. Some budget highlights from last year. So, or for this coming year. If we look at FY26, Olympic years are challenging for every NGB in terms of the fact that they come with more costs. You know, so there's the Olympics is not free for NGBs. Certainly the USOPC covers a considerable amount of it, but there's a lot of planning and there's a lot of expense for any NGB. So we are still forecasting positive net income for FY26, but it will be a challenging year. We are projecting a small increase in membership revenue levels. We're hoping to continue to build the upper tier memberships, the competitor memberships, and also, you know, we went through the returning clubs. We hope to continue to bring in more clubs in this coming year, and that means making our value proposition more attractive to those clubs. But as I said, we're planning for higher expenses. I will also say that some of you might know Katie Baker was our sporting director, left the organization. We're not replacing that position. So we're maintaining relatively low staff numbers. Well, not relatively low, quite low. So I give full credit to our staff for being as dedicated as they are. I would not say we are staffed to the levels that make it particularly easy at times, but we have great people working for us. And it's important in this year to keep our personnel costs low. So that's why we won't be doing a lot of significant hiring in this next year. The year ahead, beyond the financials, Olympic and Paralympic marketing efforts are going to be a big focus for us, of course. A few things. There is a program called Get Ahead of the Games for member clubs. If your member club has not explored that, it's in Our House, our content platform. We've talked about it in the club council. We'll have some town halls about it as well. Really trying to do more to help clubs market themselves during the games. We have some good ideas, I think, around watch parties and various efforts. I think, you know, every club is a little different. Every club has different needs, but we are going to try to provide as many tools and ideas as we can. And again, the club council has been an excellent place for us to source ideas. We certainly don't claim to have all the ideas. So we're happy to hear ideas. If you are a member club leadership, and you have ideas, please share them or ask your club council representative to share them with other clubs. We also have a super busy event schedule next year. In a trials year, maybe we were just crazy enough to also take on the Pan-Continental Championships, which is a pretty big undertaking. And we have our full national championship schedule that we will continue to put a lot of effort into. So we have 18 different national championships. So we'll start with the Arena Nationals here in October very shortly, right here in Las Vegas. Right here in Las Vegas. We'll go from that to the Pan-Continentals. We'll go from that to the trials. We'll sort of cool off a bit in December, although we have some qualifying events. We'll go into the U18s and mixed doubles and seniors throughout January. The Olympics is obviously a time when we don't run a national championship. But to give you an idea of how busy the schedule is, our men's and women's nationals, which we run even in an Olympic year because there is a world championship next year in Ogden, Utah. So there's a men's world championship there, but there's world championships in Olympic years. Our national championships will be in Charlotte, North Carolina, starting on February 23rd, which is the day after the closing ceremonies. So there's challenges with that around human resources, but what's exciting is we think that we can build off the Olympics and really have a successful nationals in a market like North Carolina, where clubs are really working very hard. We've got 2 dedicated ice clubs there, Triangle and Charlotte, that are doing great things. So we're excited to bring that event there. It's also the location of Dale's. They have a brewery there, so there's a lot of good things. The other thing we're if you've been on club council calls, you know we're talking launching a one-day membership, entirely optional for clubs. I want to make that clear. This is not something we're requiring clubs to do, but it is a one-day membership that will be $5, and with that will come some insurance coverage. People will sign a waiver through the one-day membership. So if you're a club, you don't have to worry about getting another waiver when they get there. And we hope, the thought is that insurance coverage will also protect you from maybe needing to use your general liability, because they get some personal accident insurance. The bigger picture with that, and why we'd love to get your club's help on it, is each year we're convinced that about 100,000 people step on curling ice. But we have 20,000 members, right? Because we track the people who play once a week or, join USA Curling. We track the real enthusiasts. And we know there's a better sponsor story to tell if we can talk about the extra members. So that's one reason. And then the other thing we'll commit to doing is marketing to those people. So we'll capture email data. We will send them marketing emails unless they opt out. And chances are they'll go back to your club. If they read an email about, hey, didn't you enjoy curling, and they tried curling at your club, if they're going to do it again, they're going to go back to your club. So we hope we can help clubs market. I know I was the president of my club in New Jersey. I know it's difficult especially if you're a volunteer club, to do that kind of consistent marketing, and we want to do that for clubs. So again, want to make it clear, it's not required. I know a lot of clubs want to run their corporate events or private events on their own, and that's totally fine. But what it will be is when you do a corporate or private event, you can provide a link. People can go get the $5 one-day membership. I don't think $5 is going to keep people from going to your event. And we're also going to give them a little discount on merchandise. So we continue to pursue a national curling center. There are talks, with a few different parties on that. That's a big, hairy, ambitious goal that we hope to achieve ideally in the next quad. And then going forward, what we see for the National Curling Center is not just a training center, but also a place where we can run events with some seating, have a TV ready, be a place that becomes the way Williamsport is for the Little League World Series. It would become, if you played a championship and it was there, you'd be excited about it. Again, talking to people, there's a lot of moving parts on that. I won't make any promises about how quickly that will happen. Trailer, this is real getting in the weeds here, but we needed a new trailer for our equipment. We were starting to get worried it was going to spin off and go, and we weren't going to get our equipment somewhere. So we bought a new used trailer, new for us, but our chief ice technician, Sean Olson, feels much better about it. But it was an unbudgeted expense, and it'll cost us about $20,000. So one thing we're doing is we are offering anybody who donates $500 in donor box to the trailer will get your name on the trailer. So you'll get your name on the side of the trailer with $500. So, and we'll stop when we get to $20,000. So the first in get their names on. So if you're interested in having your name on a trailer that crisscrosses the country, says you supported the trailer, check it out. We have we'll send out more links about it shortly here. And then we want to continue to find ways to be as supportive as possible of member clubs. I know we get asked the question a lot, what does the USA Curling do for my club? And we do a lot. We can always find ways to do more. And we're hoping we can find ways to make that member club membership even more valuable. So again, open to ideas on that. But we continue to work there to help member clubs with what they do. We are offering a lot of clinics, courses, etc. So feel free to contact us about those. This is something I always do at board meetings, what keeps me awake at night. It's plenty, but so if to be transparent here, I'd love to have 3 to 4 more major sponsors. That would take a lot of, pressure off us. We did really well with the Pan-Continentals and that event sponsorship. We'd like to have more organizational sponsorships. It's not easy work. We do a lot of meetings. We do a lot of outreach, but we'll continue to work on that. Olympic qualification is obviously a huge piece for us. Broadcast coverage, I want more of it. I think in the future there's a very good chance we'll have our nationals on Peacock and possibly the playoffs on the weekend. NBC was fairly interested in that this year, except that starting the day after the Olympics ends does not work too well for their personnel. It was really about a manpower issue. And then another thing is constantly thinking about how to improve our national championships. And by that, I don't mean just men's and women's and mixed doubles. I mean all our championships. One of the things we say internally is that if you play in any one of our national championships, when you walk into that club and you start playing, we want it not to feel like Thursday league night. And we're getting there. Again, one of the things that will help there is more resources, but more dollars. But we're getting there, and we hope to continue to improve those. I think people who played in national championships this past year were generally quite positive about them, but there are always things we can do better. I'll end with this, and just what can we accomplish together in 2025, 26? And one of the things I've always thought is that, we're so much better and stronger when we work together as a community.
I have no idea.
Somebody has no idea. All right, let me see if I can. All right, whoever's talking to their sweetie, if you could mute, would be fantastic. Yeah, I'd have to switch out on my screen. Anyways, one of the things, and the reason I bring this up, is in a games year, the focus becomes on our performance at the Olympics, on our national teams. And when we come together at the grassroots level to support those efforts, we're all a lot better. We're all a lot stronger. So I hope this year we can really be supportive of our teams, whether they're at the OQE, then at the Olympics, our mixed doubles team at the Olympics. Let's be supportive of their performance, and let's leverage those things to help make our club stronger. Last thing I'll end on is one of the things we're going to do this year, in addition to this get ahead of the games. One of the things we found is we're doing really well in the 21 to 40-year-old age segment. That's where we're growing significantly. Where I think we struggle a bit is getting teenagers right now involved. We have good junior programs across the country, but I think teenagers, we're not quite on the radar of their sport. So we're going to do something during the Olympics called So You Want to Be an Olympic Curler. We're going to do some outreach with high schools and athletic directors and coaches and try to get some of the kids who play other sports to try ours. And I think that's an important thing for us to do. So what I really just want to say is let's work together in this games year. Let's, lean on us. We'll be leaning on you. The last thing I'll say is 2 messages. I think I said the last thing 3 times now, so I apologize. But the final thing I'll say, 2 marketing messages we're going to push out a lot during the games. In the past, it's been a lot about let's get more people playing. We think that will happen organically. I'm pretty convinced that people watch it during the Olympics. They say, hey, I want to try that. That probably doesn't need prodding from us. 2 messages we're going to have are, one is about the value of curling clubs in a community and why they're such a valuable community asset. So if you see me interviewed anywhere on CNBC, I'm going to be trying to talk about that. And I think that's important for arena clubs. And we've got some good documents and some good data about how curling clubs are terrific third spaces. They're community gathering spots, and we might need those more than ever in this country right now. So that's one thing. The other piece is working to get more young teenage athletes playing the sport. We want to get more of that group in. I think we'll capture the 21 to 40-year-olds, and I love having them. You only have to go to 5 and under nationals, for instance, to see how vibrant that community is. But those are 2 messages we're going to be pushing out there this year. So with that, I'll pause, and I'll look in the chat to see what questions there are. So there's great comments, Dick says, but I will, I'm going to try to get back to Teams just so I can see the comments. Why can't I get, oh, here we go. I need to stop sharing my screen, don't I? That would be helpful. Is anybody wondering why we had trouble with our YouTube channel? So, as I struggle with this. So yeah, I'm just gonna have a quick look at the chat now that I can see a little better. Congratulations to Roger. There's a Dales team curling with, is that Mimi in Rock Creek? They have a Dales team curling with them. Great. I think that's probably Evan Buttress. And Dustin, I think, out in Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls, by the way, has been a terrific partner for us for the trials, both the Sports Authority there and the Sioux Falls Curling Club and the venue. So if you are interested in attending a trials, I really think this would be a great one to go to. And with that, I'll turn it over back to Brett.
Thank you, Dean. The last time on the agenda, and I promise you it is listed as 30 minutes, and I will not take that long, but is the chair report. And I think Dean honestly covered pretty much everything that we've done over the last year and how we're looking to grow curling in the United States in future years, starting with this Olympics. But I want to just talk about and share a story with you guys. You know, there are challenges that we're facing in USA Curling. You know, we now have politics interfering with our sport. You know, there's 3 clubs, at least that I know of, Itasca, Wauwatosa, Kalamazoo, who are facing their own challenges. Certainly Olympic qualification is a challenge, and I think the solution to so many of these things is the curling community. I just think that, you know, if there's a place to meet people who are different than you and to sit down with them and get to know them and understand them at a human level, it's at a curling club. People who might be different, who might be considered, you know, by peers that you may hang out with is someone that you shouldn't associate with. But when you know, get around the table after a game and are able to learn about them and about their family and about what they do, it just changes the dynamic. And I think that, you know, as Dean said, you know, the value of a curling club in the community is so important. But I really think, and I'll echo something that he just said, that in this time, in this country, I think curling can be a force for good. I really do believe that. And I don't just say that as a corny phrase. I'll give you a story. I was at the World Curling Meetings representing us with Jennifer Stannard just 2 weeks ago. And you know, we were there for 4 days, and you know, there were Russian delegates and there were Ukrainian delegates. And for most of the 4 days, I didn't see them even talking to each other. And at one point, World Curling had facilitated a discussion, not just between those 2 countries, but the whole World Curling community about should World Curling change its policy on allowing Russian athletes to participate in World Curling activities. And it was a very passionate discussion by people on both sides, not just Russia, which obviously were really concerned about how many years their athletes have not been able to participate, by the Ukrainians, who, you know, that very day when we're having the discussion, we had just heard about a drone attack of hundreds of drones on that country, attacking schools, hurting children, and hospitals. And of course, the broader curling community has a lot of opinions on this. After the discussion, that evening at dinner, after dinner, I saw the Ukrainian delegates and the Russian delegates sitting and having a drink together. I don't think that happens in the world too often right now. But I think because of what curling is in the community that we have here in the United States, but obviously abroad, I think that curling is just an incredible community and can bridge a lot of barriers. And I just hope that we can look past the division that we have, and there are people, even within our community, who try to point at us and divide us. But I think that we can get past it. And so I just wish everyone a really good curling season. I believe in our athletes, thinking back to the challenges of Olympic qualification. I really believe in our athletes, and I really believe in all of you who are supporting them and helping them get to achieve the goals that they have. And so, like I said, I just wish everyone a good curling season, and look forward to serving you with this wonderful board that's appointed and elected for the next year. Mr. Secretary, are there any items on the agenda for the 2025 members meeting? There are? Yes, are there more items?
There are no additional items on the agenda.
Then do I have a motion to adjourn? Bernie motions to adjourn. Is there a second? Seconded by Ann. All those in favor of adjourning the 2025 members meeting, say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Thanks, everybody.
Got pretty excited when he came in here, Bernie.
Exactly. Hey, he said fill the seats.
So can I speak to your teenagers?
Yes.
If you want teenagers, you need little rockers.
Yeah. I'm not entirely convinced of that, to be honest.
I feel like all of our teenagers come through as
Rockers.
little rockers for the most part.
But the one thing is, I agree that that's a great feature.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think kids play a lot of different sports, think too many of them don't even think about it, right? Like I bet if you went to high school near you,
Yeah.
in Cape Cod,
Yeah.
how many 15-year-olds who say play soccer think they would ever take up curling?
Right, but I think that's why you have to get them young because they do get stuck in the other sports. But if you get them young, then even if they do the other sports, they tend to keep like we've got, well, actually, like the U18 boys. I mean, they are extraordinary athletes.
Yeah.
Gartner
Yeah.
boys. I mean, they are top, the top runners that and they win every like past 2 years. They've won the our road race, Falmouth Road Race, which is massive. You know, in terms of, I mean, they don't beat the Ethiopians, right? But in terms of like, you know, the statewide. I mean, these guys are like huge. I mean, they're really, really good, and yet they keep curling because they started as Little Rockers. So even though they're truly excellent athletes, they stick with the curling.
I think that makes great sense. I think there's also kids like
I mean, I'm not saying right off the teenagers, but it's not. They become teenagers so quick. You know, like to get them in now, I think it's a much bigger lift than to get them in when they're young, and then you know because.
I agree that you can get kids in when they're really young, it's more likely to stick with it.
Yeah, and it's.
I don't want us to lose sight of the fact that, like, I think some kids don't realize they can pick it up, right?
Oh, for sure.
Because, you know, like, if you're going to play, my son's a baseball player.
If you're not playing,
competitive baseball at 10, 11,
right,
you're not picking it up at 15, 16.
right. No, I get that. I get that.
I think we have a story there to say, hey,
Like we're a little different. Like you could pick this up now.
and if maybe you're a soccer player and you say, I really enjoyed soccer, I'm pretty good at it, you're probably not going to be good enough to play tennis.
Right.
Here's a sport for you.
Right.
Especially focus on those sports that are outside of our season, right? Like you're not going to get a hockey kid
Yeah.
to start curling.
Right.
You could get a field hockey player, a softball player, lacrosse player. To think about it.
I just think that I don't know. We've had such success with the Little Rockers.
You've had, I would say, you're a bit of an outlier. So probably would like to know more about it.
So the other thing I gotta say about the Little Rocker, and I'm working with, we've actually, Levi, my husband, and I, who run our program, we have pestered, and we've gotten Karen Cousins to do now our second like meeting of the GNCC Just Youth Coordinators. So there's a little bit of a momentum, I think, going there, which is great. You know, trying to get these youth programs kind of talking to each other and sharing resources and ideas. But we have created all of these terrific games for the Little Rockers to get them going. And there is zero resources out there. If you look online for the little guys, like how to keep them going when, you know, they can't get the rock down to the other end of the ice. But I mean, we've got stuff with like all this stuff, and it costs nothing, right? And it you know, we talked about if we just made like a little like games to do with Little Rockers and like had this thing and you post it on the website or something like that, so that
That's a great idea. The person